My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is
For safety and courtesy, please silence your cell phones. Before the service begins, I would like to direct your attention to the emergency exits and other safety features. There, back there. Look for the red or green exit lights over the doors. There are exits on each side of the bima, behind the curtains. There are also exits at the back end of the social hall. At the side of the sanctuary are the exits to the main doors through which you entered, and exit doors on either side of the lobby. There is a fire extinguisher and AED near the water fountain in the hall, and another fire extinguisher inside the doors to the sanctuary where you entered. So please look now and find the exits nearest you. You may also want to look at this card, which is in the seat backs in front of you. This is a safety card. It will show you the layout of the temple. In the unlikely event that we must evacuate, we'll meet at the southwest corner of the parking lot away from the buildings. Thank you very much for your attention, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here in our sanctuary, and for all of you in Cyber Shul, I wish you Shabbat Shalom as well. Sorry we were not on with our usual musical preview. Had a little Zoomical technical challenges, which we gratefully have fixed, but it's great to be here with you. We're going to start, if you're joining us in the sanctuary, in our prayer books on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. Just a reminder, I did not put the link in the chat today, but if you go to CCAR Press, and you will find there links to our online Siddur, both things you can read on Kindle e-readers, and also what they call a live browser version if you have the ability to look at something in a browser or on a separate device while you're watching our service. And plugging in my guitar. Want to mention I am really solo tonight. Rabbi Kupitz is at Camp Newman for his final Shabbat with our campers from Temple Beth Israel and our staff members from TBI, along with 300 or 400 other campers there. And he will be back with us next week. But of course, he wishes all of us a Shabbat Shalom. And Randy's not with us tonight as he is preparing for his concert on Sunday at the Nixon Library. If you want information on that, it's in all of our TBI media. So just us.
Shalom Alechem Malachei Hasharet Malchei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Lo Lachem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom מלכי, מלכי, מלכי עליון, ממלך, ממלך, מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי, מלכי, מלכי עליון, ממלך, ממלך, מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא. How about a little clapping with me? Da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da. Last paragraph. Seitkam l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Bimelech, Bimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One more, yada-dai, yada-da-dai-dai. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yada da dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, dai dai dai.
As you can see, we have our Shabbat candles lit from the previous service for our families. So we will bless them, not actually light them, but I do invite you to rise and turn to page 2 and let us read together on the top of page 3 as we prepare to say the blessing. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You may be seated. I'm going to take just a brief moment of silence, little meditation to review day by day the week that is past, if for no other reason to just kind of put that behind us and let us truly sink into the energy of Shabbat, the energy of peace, of minucha, of really deep rest, and let us move forward having, reviewed and then place that stuff on the side shelf, at least for the next 25 hours or so. We'll give you a chance to do that, and then we will continue to welcome the Shabbat bride, the Shabbat queen, with Lecha Dodi on page 20. Page 20.
La 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 lecha dodi. La 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 likrat kala. La 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat tikabel. La 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 lecha dodi. La 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat tikabel. Shamor v'zachor v'ribor atan Ishmeanu el hamiuchan Adonai atan Ushmo atan T'sei multiferet Velitchila Ya la la Ya la 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 lecha dodi Ya la 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 likrat kala Ya la 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 penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Mehuven elcha Ki mekor Havracha Merosh Mikedem Mesucha So ma'aseh b'machsheva Techila Ya la 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 lecha dodi Ya la la likrat kala Ya la la penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat Nikabela Hitoreri Tivaore Ubiori Uri Shirdaveri Kevod Adonai Allah Yechmigla Ya la la lecha dodi Ya la la likrat kala Ya la la penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat Tikabela. I invite you to rise as the Sabbath Queen is welcomed. Paragraph 9. Boi v'shalom Ateret pala Gam b'simcha Uv'sohola Toch emunei Am segula Boi chala Ya la lecha dodi Ya la likrat kala Ya la penei Shabbat Mikabela. You may be seated. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Just a heads up to Tiana. In a couple moments, I'll invite her to come and join us for Shema and Ve'ahavta. Just give you a little heads up since I didn't get a chance to talk to you before. Page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'al divrach kirutei ve'amlich malchutei V'chai echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayed echol bet Yisrael Bagala, bagala u'v'tzman kariv ve'imeru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mivara Le'olam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudesha berichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechamata Da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru Amen. We rise for our call to prayer, Baruch Hu, on page 28. Yadadai, dai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Oh, am I awake? Am I aware? Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam va'ed Yadadai dai dai 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 Yadadai dai dai. Let's read together on page 31, the bottom paragraph. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Last three lines on page 30 in the Hebrew. El Chai v'Kayam Hamidim l'chaleinu l'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Hamarim Aravim. We turn to Ahavat Olam on the following page, page 32. And need to locate something here on the Hema. So I had the great privilege when I was at camp the first 2 weeks of July to spend 2 weeks with Dan Nichols, a tremendous Jewish songwriter and performer with a deep neshama, a deep soul, and although this next song is not a Dan Nichols song, it is something that he introduced to me and to the students at camp, and something that my son's unit, their ADOP, shared at Shabbat services and at their Chagiga festival, their Festival of the Arts, just before we left camp. So I'd like to share it with you. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Tichen chayenu Ve'orech yameinu U'ahem negeh Yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatecha Al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech Yameinu Uvahem negeh Yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatecha Al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. I'd like to invite Tiana to join us on the bima as we turn to Shema on page 34 and 35. If it is your custom to rise, I invite you to do so. That was, by the way, Rabbi Noah Diamondstein's version of Ahavat Olam. My sense is you may hear it again. Read.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Let me use the microphone, please. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We continue with the Ahavta on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinantam Livaneha Vidibartam Bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות ילדיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem, Amen. You may be seated. So I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. The next 3, really 4, really 5, well, I guess 6, maybe 7 even, liturgical pieces that we are going to include in order, beginning with Micha Mocha. I'm going to just go through one from the other. No stops, no English readings, in the hopes that not only you can join with me, but maybe just let yourself feel, get in the groove, so to speak. I will start out, though, I mentioned Dan Nichols before. I will start out with a Dan Nichols Micha Mocha. We've done here occasionally, but not in a really long time, certainly not since we've reassembled in person since we went virtual for 2.5 years on and off. And so it's just, we're going to start right here on page 40, 42, 44. Micha Mocha, Hashkivenu, Vishamru, or Amidah. I'll invite Tiana up. So when we get to the end of Vishamru, Tiana, you'll just come up. We'll do our Amidah together. The first 3 prayers, and then we'll take a little moment of silence, and then I'll bring us back here with some teaching and things. So. So I'm going to invite you to at least join me on the opening of the Micha Mocha. If you're not familiar with it, the lyrics are very, very difficult. They're similar to the lyrics we started off with Shalom Aleichem. It's called Lie, 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 Lie. Okay, everybody got that? It goes something like this. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Let's try that one more time. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Bi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, bi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Bi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, bi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Torah tehilo osei feleh, Torah tehilo osei feleh, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. La la is with me. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la. Malchut Zechara uvanecha, Chokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, Ze'elianu v'amaru, Ze'elianu v'amaru, Adonai loch le'olam va'ed. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 ya la la ya la la la. Yai la 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 la. I lie. Kivad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalo meyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Lehamidenu Shomreinu L'chayim. Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Lehamidenu Shomreinu L'chayim. Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat laso et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'ri olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ויום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 46, 48, and 50.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai
Sorry.
Eloheinu Eloheinu b'motenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol. Zoher hasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi gevula livnei bneihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer Moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, v'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaya kol atah Rav v'loshia, morid hatam, mechokel hayim behesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofeh cholim, u'matir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afam, michamocha bal gevurot umidol melech, melech memit umechayei umatmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom, yahalelucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please take a few moments for your own reflection. And when you have completed that, you may be seated. Thank you, Tiana. Bottom of page 62. Oh, say shalom Roma, hu yaset shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. One more time. Oh, say shalom Roma, hu yaset shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Oh, say shalom bimroma, hu yaset shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen, ve'imru amen, ve'imru amen. So if you were with us last Shabbat, you may recall that rather than something deeply sermonic, I shared some poetry by the great poet Emma Lazarus because it was her birthday, and I had the idea that possibly other than those couple of lines that are written on the Statue of Liberty, many of us were not really familiar with the depth of her poetic talents and also the deep
gevura, the deep strength that she brought to not only her writing, but to her life. She was, I think we compared her to, in some way to Pinchas, whose portion it was, because of the zealotry that she showed for the causes that she believed in. And although we didn't touch on it last week, one other aspect of that portion was the daughters of Tzlofchad, the daughters of a man who had died owning a lot of property, and under the law at the time, the halakha, at least it was understood before there was Torah, but there was always Torah, but that's another story. We won't go into that. Women were not entitled to inherit. However, the daughters of Tzlofchad banded together, went before Moses, engaged God in a way that inspired Moses to receive a message from God that indeed the daughters of Tzlofchad shall inherit the property of their father, that they shouldn't be left to the will and whims of the men of the tribe because of their lack of resources or their lack of personal wealth. And that's basically the story of Tzlofchad. So now we are in Matot Ma'aseh, the last portion in the book of Numbers. And guess what? The men are complaining. And in that spirit, and you'll see the connection in a moment, I want to share the story of another great Jewish woman, something that I got from the URJ's website earlier today. A woman named Rose Schneiderman. Anybody ever hear Rose Schneiderman? I see at least one nodding head. Someone I actually would expect to have heard of Rose Schneiderman. But I'm going to tell you the story of Rose Schneiderman and how it connects with this week's Parsha. This is called Rose Schneiderman and the Power of Women's Anger. Standing all of 4 feet 9 inches tall and weighing just 90 pounds, Rose Schneiderman, who lived from 1882 to 1972, electrified the crowd gathered to support female suffrage in the summer of 1912. Her rhetoric was known to match her fiery red hair. Yay, redheads. What the woman who labors wants, she extorted, is the right to live, not simply exist, the right to life as the rich woman has the right to life, and the sun and the moon, the sun and music and art. The worker must have bread, but she must have roses too. Help, you women of privilege, give her the ballot to fight with. Rose Schneiderman learned early on how to channel one's personal frustration into positive social change. Born in Eastern Europe in 1882, she attended Cheder religious school and then public school. And in 1890, the family immigrated to New York City. When her father died 2 years later, leaving behind a pregnant wife and 3 children, her mother was forced to send the older kids to an orphanage, something that happened in my family with my grandparents. When Rose reunited with her mother to return home, she was able to initially attend school, but had to join the workforce full-time at the age of 13. She was employed first at a department store where she worked as many as 70 hours a week, then in industrial work where she discovered not only the, quote, camaraderie of the shop floor, but also the exploitation that workers, especially women, faced at the hands of their male employers. In 1903, she organized the first female local of the Hat and Cap Makers Union and rose quickly through the ranks of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. Schneiderman's suffrage activism began in 1907 when she joined the newly established Equality League for Self-Supporting Women. Her brilliant oratory brought her statewide and then national acclaim. Financially independent of men, she was a living example of how far women might stray, quote unquote, from the domestic sphere if given the opportunity. She mocked the idea that voting would somehow unsex women, especially when compared to the rigors of industrial work many undertook each day. Surely, she once said, women won't lose any more of their beauty and charm by putting a ballot in the ballot box once a year than they are likely to lose standing in foundries or laundries all year round. Rose Schneiderman follows a long chain of Jewish women who channeled their anger into political action.
from the daughters of Zelophehad who appear in last week's Torah portion to the women of our own generation who organize, agitate, and simply won't tolerate injustice. Actually, Pinchas was 2 weeks ago. You might remember Zelophehad's 5 daughters. They're the ones who, when their father dies without a male heir, insist that they inherit their family's ancestral land. Moses makes their case before God, and lo and behold, their demands are met. The daughters receive a divine promise that the land will stay in their family for perpetuity. But the startling triumph of biblical women's rights does not last long. Male relatives challenge the divine ruling in this week's joint portion, Parashat Matot Maaseh. They fear that they will be shortchanged should Zelophehad's daughters intermarry with those of another tribe. So God decrees that the daughters may, quote, marry anyone they wish, provided they marry into a clan of their father's tribe, which was the tribe of Manasseh. Not a lot of latitude there. As Rabbi Hara Person has observed, by marrying their first cousins, the daughters will essentially hand over their inheritance to the same men who would have received the land had they not stood up for themselves in the first place. The restriction put upon the daughters makes one good and mad. Why, we wonder, must the women cede their God-given right to men's fear of literally losing ground? Our anger can begin to dissipate when we read Rivka Lovitz's creative interpretation of the book of Numbers, chapter 36, verse 11. Lovitz noticed that in a single verse in this week's Parsha, the 5 sisters are referred to first in the aggregate based on their relationship to their father. In other words, the daughters of Zelophehad. And then they're addressed as individuals, each with their own identity. Mal'ah, Tirzah, Chogla, Milcha, and Noah. Lovitz understood their father's name as a compound of 2 Hebrew words, Zel and Pachad. Zelophehad, Zel, and Pachad, which is translated to shadow and fear. And thereby argued that only after the daughters banded together were they able to come out from the shadow of fear and be called by their own names and speak their truth. Like Malah, like Tirzah, like Chogla, like Milcha and Noah, who came before her, Rose Schneiderman's life work personifies that reality. She understood that getting counted requires collective action, and that collective action leads to getting counted. Shabbat Shalom. It's now our opportunity to turn our hearts to those who are in need of healing. We'll turn to page 253 in our Sidurim, where the full text of the Mishaberach prayer is. I will do a somewhat modified version, but I will offer an opportunity to add the names of those in your hearts and in the hearts of those of you online who choose to put them in our chat as we share Misha Berach, blessings for healing. O Holy One, who blessed our mothers, who blessed our fathers from ancient days, oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yimaleh Rachamim Aleihem, Lehachzikam Urapeotam וישלח להם רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, בתוך שאר חולי ישראל. Oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names. We ask for prayers of healing for Rebecca Gilman, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Toback, Rosalind Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Connie Shapiro, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Kathy Brewster, Jennifer Rudin, Brad Holland, Serena Postel, Bobby Kay, Robert Strober, Marilyn Lubarsky, Ellery Einstein, Pat Kramer, Joan Morris, Nomi Kravitz, Craig Sachs, Simon Saul, Blair Pollock, Myra White, Lori Snyder, Jeremy Noller, Cherry Razadeh, Mike Klein, Lily Morrison, Sarah Kojman, Richard Handley, Barbara Fass, Joel Beasley, Bert Gershman, Carol Berlant, David Bush, Howard Bush, Dana Sundin, Lawson Spicer, Mark Fenton, Gloria Foster, Rita Warshaw, Ira Quatcher, Robert Gerard, Stuart Mann, Stephen Arts, Adele Harris, Maria Amduri, Brenda Fong Gerard, Martha Sousa, Ron Friedlander, Emily Linden Ross, Kara Kolb, and Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachami Aleichem. Oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names. So occasionally during the year, we have the opportunity to honor various groups, various affinity groups within our temple, some new, some been around for a while. And this evening we have the pleasure of recognizing and honoring the contributions of our TBI book club, who will be sponsoring the Oneg tonight. Sorry for those of you who are online, you don't get to enjoy the tasty treats, but we encourage you to consider joining us in person if you're able. And to learn more about our book group, I'd like to invite Diane Schuster to share some words.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Diane Schuster, a member of the TBI Readers Book Group. Tonight, our group is delighted to be sponsoring the Oneg after services in celebration of our 5th anniversary, 5 years of reading together. Several of our members are here this evening to share our enthusiasm for having come together to explore Jewish literature from many different perspectives. Over the years, this group has read novels about Jewish families, historical accounts about Jewish foods, adventure stories about surviving escapes from Yemen and being Israeli secret agents. We have read memoirs and biographies of Jews whose lives are quite different from our own, books about Jewish values and philosophy and holidays, short stories about Jews in different communities around the world, and modern Jewish classics, such as by such authors as Philip Roth, Chaim Potok, Anita Demont, and Dara Horn. In all, the group has discussed 56 books. Each month, a member brings 3 suggestions for a book for us to read in 2 months' time. Our practice is to discuss who prefers which book and then to come to consensus about what we'll all read. Sometimes we choose a book that we previously skipped over. Our other choices list has dozens of titles, I think about 70, and just keeps growing. We're a group of people with different Jewish and non-Jewish backgrounds, people who grew up in different parts of the country and have different tastes in reading. Our discussions, one Sunday night a month on Zoom, are full of personal reflection and thoughtful observations about what makes a Jewish book relevant to our lives today. We've often bring in reviews and commentaries from online sources. We usually spend about 45 minutes talking about the book and then another 20 minutes catching up on one another's lives. As a group, we have developed strong bonds with one another, and we all feel incredibly grateful to TBI for getting us started. We would love to inspire other book groups to form in the congregation, and we want to be resources about good books to read and ways to keep members involved. Please look for us at the Oneg. We have little books drawn on our name tags, and tell us what kind of Jewish reader you are. And feel free to take a book from the tables so that you can invite others. We brought books that we've read, and you're welcome to take them home with you and invite others to read along with you. For thousands of years, Jews have come together to study books. We're the people of the book. What the TBI readers have found is that a book group is a wonderful way to stay connected to one another, to the temple, and as Jews. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Diane. As Diane mentioned, there are books available that the group has read for you to peruse and to take home and hopefully inspire you. I also believe that should you decide to form your own group, the resources are there to get you started, give you sage advice. And I think Judy has actually a sign-up sheet if you are interested, and we'll try to do our best to coordinate all the things that would be involved in getting a new group started. We do have a couple more announcements. So you met Phil Mendelson, member of our Board of Trustees, when we started the service, and I'd like to invite Phil back up to share what's happening.
Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of the board, thank you all for being here, both in the sanctuary and online. And Toda Rabbah to Cantor Bush for such an inspiring service and richness in voice and music. And as previously mentioned, please join us for the Oneg, provided by the TBI Book Club. I also want to thank tonight's greeters, outside greeters Kylie Sykes and Toyasha Sabag, the lobby greeters Phyllis Blackie, Sharon Regalado, Ruth Charloff, Lance Watsky, and Judy Rose, and our parking lot monitors Katie Loeb and Rachel Tran. We have a busy and engaged community. You can always find what interests you in our weekly email update that comes every Thursday, as well as the monthly Kahila and our website and Facebook page. A few things that I'd like to mention, though. Our own Dr. Randy Polovoy will be in concert at 2 p.m. at the Richard Nixon Library on Sunday, this coming Sunday, July 31st. If you want more information on that, check out www.nixonlibrary.gov. Next Friday, August 5th, Erev Shabbat service at 7:30 p.m. Again, outside on the Great Lawn with the Shul Band. And that will be preceded by a BYO Shabbat picnic at 6 p.m. An outdoor oneg will follow the service. Saturday, August 6th, Erev Tisha B'Av observance at 8 p.m. in the sanctuary and also on the TBI Facebook page and YouTube. This will be presented in partnership with Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center and other area congregations. And then finally, TBI is organizing a congregational trip to Israel to take place next spring. You can see the announcement in the Temple update. You can click on the link to learn more or contact Arthur Weinstein directly. Again, thank you very much and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Phil. We are moving towards the conclusion of our service. I would like to, of course, thank Tiana Rassin for making such a beautiful contribution. Tiana will become bat mitzvah 2 weeks from tomorrow, so on the 13th of August. Shout out, as always, to Claudia Gonzalez for handling all of the technical aspects of sharing our congregation beyond the walls of our sanctuary. And thanks also to Phil Mendelson, who, along with myself and Claudia, are continuously working to make our technology work better and be more, present and interactive opportunities. One of the things that Phil did mention is if you look in our updates, you'll see that there are Zoom links for the Tisha B'Av observance on August 6th, in the evening of August 6th, because there is some interactivity that will be available, although you're welcome to watch it as a broadcast. If you choose to interact, we invite you to make sure you have the Zoom link. Any questions, just contact the temple. I invite you to rise as we move to conclude with Aleinu L'Shabeach on page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה לעוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
This is the time in our Shabbat worship when we acknowledge those who have died in recent days in our community, those connected with our community, and also at this time in seasons past. We particularly recognize 3 recent deaths. The passing of Vanessa Regalado, niece of Sharon Sachs Regalado, of Jean Levin, husband of Belinda Levin, brother-in-law of Rona Chabin and Roberta Waldman and their husbands. And also the death earlier, I guess it was yesterday, of Dr. Arvin Klein, father of Jeff Klein. Both the funerals for Jean Levin and for Arvin Klein will take place tomorrow on Sunday morning. There are notices that went out if you want to show your support for the family, either by attending the Shivas or the services if you're available. Not everything is online, but some of the things are. We also want to recognize the recent passing of Morris Richard Green, uncle of Sharon Stein, of Judy Bosworth, mother of Sue Slim, and Larry Bosworth, stepfather of Sue Slim. We also note the yurtzites, the anniversaries of the death of the following individuals: Sheila Kaloff, Elizabeth Amanda Ewing, Harry Addis, Sarah Nathan, Samuel Rizik, Shirley Singer, Marian Vehon, David John Maiku, Anseli Arts, Judith Handelsman, Celia Rose, Sandy Chase, Judy Goldberg, Sid Cooperberg, David Morse, Edward Schwartz, Larry Benjamin, and Sylvia Gordon. If you have a name that you'd like to add, please rise and do so as my hand passes through the community. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a yurtzeit, I invite you to rise at this time. And if it is your custom to rise in care and support of those who mourn, to also do so as we turn to page 294 for the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'vchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmel maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, uyaseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Yisrael, and to all humankind, to which we say, amen. We remain standing as we close with Be'ado, bottom of page 321.
Be'ado av kidruchi, Eini shan ve'ahira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I I shall not fear, safely in your hand. Be'ado of Tiduchi, Be'erishan ve'a'ira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira.
Please join us in the social hall for Kiddush and Motzi. Thank you again to all of you who have joined us from through Cyber Shul. I do have one other kind of announcement that this Tuesday evening, TBI will be participating in the Pomona Night Out. There is an opportunity for some volunteers to join TBI representatives at the table in Pomona for, I think, about 2 hours. It's an interesting opportunity to connect with members of the community, wider community, our neighbors right here in Pomona. So if you are interested, please see Laura Zuckerman during the ONEG, and we'd love to have you. Thanks again so much, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.